With OWCS Season 3 on the horizon, teams across the league are reassessing their rosters, looking for gains that could be the difference between deep playoff runs and early exits. Welcome back to Tank Talk, where today we're breaking down partner organization Virtus.pro, who are competing in the Europe, Middle East, and Africa region, and taking a look at their roster heading into the 2026 season. This is a lineup loaded with pedigree and proven winners, but also with clear structural questions that will ultimately determine how far they can go. Virtus.pro's Season 3 roster features Ice on tank, Seicoe and Kevster on DPS, and Landon and FiXa on support. On paper, this is absolutely a championship caliber lineup. In practice, its success will hinge on flexibility, specifically how well certain players can operate just outside their traditional comfort zones. Starting in the tank role, Ice remains one of the most promising prospects in his region. He has shown real promise on both main tank and off-tank heroes, giving Virtus.pro valuable flexibility on paper. To elevate the team from playoff threat to true title contender, Ice will need to show he can consistently compete with the very best tank talent in the region, regardless of meta. If he rises to that level, Virtus.pro's ceiling becomes legitimately championship caliber. If not, the tank matchup may be the one area that holds them back at the highest level. The DPS line is where Virtus.pro's star power is most concentrated. Kevster remains one of the most accomplished Western DPS players the game has ever seen, with a resume built on elite mechanics, clutch performances, and years of top-tier play. As Season 3 approaches, Virtus.pro looks increasingly likely to rely on Kevster as their primary hit-scan player. It's a role he has filled effectively in the past, but questions remain about how consistently he can perform on those picks when he's no longer at the peak of his career. Alongside him is Seicoe, one of the most reliable flex DPS players in the West. Seicoe's value comes from his adaptability and team-first approach. He plays within structure, absorbs pressure without collapsing, and rarely becomes a liability. With Kevster likely anchoring the hit scan role, Seicoe is positioned to stay closer to his comfort zone where his consistency can shine. If Kevster can hold his own on hit scan against the region's specialists, the lineup looks dangerous. If not, even Seicoe's stability may not be enough to offset the matchup disadvantage at the very top of the region. On support, Virtus.pro looks outright dangerous. Landon is one of the strongest Western flex supports when he's on his comfort heroes. His utility usage, tempo control, and fight-swinging playmaking make him a legitimate win condition in the right meta. If Season 3 favors his hero pool, Landon could be the engine that drives this team's best performances. Alongside him is FiXa, Virtus.pro's lone Korean import and a rock in the backline. FiXa brings experience, elite main support fundamentals, and steady communication. Just as importantly, he already understands the team's systems, which helps avoid the coordination pitfalls that often plague mixed region rosters. Compared to much of the region, Virtus.pro's support line is a clear advantage rather than a concern. Virtus.pro enters OWCS Season 3 as one of the most complete and intriguing rosters. Their biggest strengths are clear: a support line that should dominate almost any matchup, a DPS core with championship pedigree, and a tank player whose flexibility gives the team real strategic range. On their best days, when the meta aligns and execution is clean, this is a team that should be able to beat anyone in the region and be capable of making deep playoff runs. The questions, however, are just as important as the upside. Ice's development against elite regional tank talent will be a defining storyline all season. On DPS, Virtus.pro is placing a meaningful bet on Kevster's ability to deliver consistent value on hit scan at this stage of his career. If that gamble pays off, Seicoe's stability rounds out a dangerous and well-balanced DPS line. If it doesn't, Virtus.pro may find themselves outgunned in the most demanding matchups, even when everything else is working. Meta trends, role execution, and player adaptability will determine whether this roster settles into the tier of reliable contenders or breaks through as a genuine title threat. They should be a fixture in playoffs, a threat in any given series, and one of the most fascinating teams to watch as Season 3 unfolds. What do you think of Virtus.pro's roster, and how do you think they'll perform? Let me know in the comments below. This has been Tank Talk, and thank you for watching.